Hello and welcome. Well, it's Monday because we are here and we have a special guest today because we talk about how to get out of your head and what it actually means. And I know you're curious to learn more because topic is interesting. And special guest is today from Virginia. It's Ryan Lindner. Hi, Ryan.
Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to chat.
We're glad to have you here, Ryan. And if there's one thing we all need to do is finding a way to get out of our own head, creating our own mess. And I'm glad you're here to help us all with this.
So tell us more. How do you help people and what exactly you do?
Well, for many years, I've been a coach, and that means a variety of things. I've coached people with basically their habits. Oftentimes, they don't realize they have them. And I've done all different types of coaching. So helping people through big transitions in their lives, overcoming, things like stage fright, public speaking, helping introverts, maybe often suffering from anxiety, kind of break through the barriers and turn off the mental chatter and sort of move on and accomplish big goals in their lives. I've done a lot of work with military individuals, business owners, so entrepreneurs. So quite a variety of different people. I've had psychologists as clients. I've had CEOs. So it's really, it's about your blind spots, the things you can't see.
Yes.
So no matter where we are in the military or business owners or just cleaning a toilet in supermarket, we still have those blocks that not allowing us to do what? Be happy, do more, get better. Not everybody want to become a manager, right? So what are those blocks?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with self-dialogue and kind of how you treat yourself, how you feel about it, mindset, really. I do work a lot with, like I said, introverts, individuals with anxiety quite a bit. I'm an introvert. As I was younger, I suffered really horribly from anxiety. And so I can relate and connect with those people very easily.
So how did you manage to snap out of it, if you will?
Well, I for years, it was something I felt like was broken. And so I would seek out, I became a coach by accident, really. I never knew it was a career option. I didn't know what a coach was at the time. But I always gravitated towards personal development, anything I could find that would help me sort of feel better about myself. It was so bad. I'd speak in front of big groups and I'd sweat just profusely. I mean, it would just like come through my shirt. It was horrible. And I really, as I kind of fell into coaching, I gravitated towards all this personal development. I got trained in it, and someone said, "Hey, I had this coaching opportunity. Are you interested?" So I learned the ropes. I got additional training as I went, and I found myself as a coach. Now, since then, I have expanded that and really worked with organizations. So how do you improve performance with people? How do you decrease or improve company culture? So I do a lot of leadership trainings. I do a lot of, how do you team performance? How do you get the best from people? So I do understand the dynamic, the personalities. How do you motivate teams? And leadership is so different from management. So how do you train that? So from what I've seen, it's a lot to do with it is perception. I think there's a perception out there that leaders have everything figured out all the time. They're confident because they know everything. And, as an introvert, for me, it was feeling like, I'm not enough. It's something I need to fix. And once I was able to one day just think of it just a little differently, that was the beginning. I think the first step to overcoming some of that anxiety is to understand that there's nothing that you need to fix. If you believe that, a lot of us treat ourselves worse than we would treat any loved one, any friend or family member. So if I start to think about it as if there's nothing actually wrong with me, and I learned to love that aspect of myself. There's a lot of benefits to being an introvert. For one, a lot of times I know a lot of introverts, myself included, who are more observers. So they don't speak in stream of consciousness. So they're well thought. They're very thoughtful. They're very introspective, calm. There's a lot of, it's not a good or bad. It's just strength. Everybody has their own strengths. But there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing I need to fix. So what if, however I showed up, it was okay. If I show up to this talk and I'm sweating bad and I'm red as a tomato, maybe I'm okay with that. However I show up, if I just make it okay because I love that person. Once I did that, the symptoms went away a little bit. They dissipated. And I'm truly okay with it. I'm truly okay with it. I don't want to be anything other than introverted. I want that. That's the way I show up. And it's just the way that you kind of, you speak about it. And a lot of people suffer from anxiety. That's not the dialogue that they have.
So I don't mean to take the thunder, so to speak, from my wife, but I'm just curious. We get a lot of people on here that's a coach. Everybody wants to be a coach. They all think it's something easy and just go out there and just talk to a few people. Tell me about what makes you different than everybody else who claims to have something to make people better. What makes you different?
I've met a lot of coaches as well, and don't want to generalize all of them, but some of the coaches I know, they wake up one day and say, life coaching sounds neat, so I'm going to be a coach. Their experience is in finance or accounting or some profession. Perfectly okay. You can learn to be a coach. You can become trained. But I think it's the people are attracted to the idea of it. The idea of, I can just be a coach and I can go through a 2-week training and 2-month or whatever it is. And now I'm certified and now I'm a coach. So a coach for me is it took years to get to a place and formal training to really understand. And it's different from a counselor. I'm not digging into the past and the problems. It's more of understanding the dynamics of teams, how to get the best from people, and how to help them move beyond their barriers. So I think for me, what makes me different is really the ability to understand what's needed, the questions, dig into the blind spots, and also pivot. I don't just help people with, wellness or I don't do any individual sessions anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's helping people with real tools and real steps they can take, whether it be in their career or as an entrepreneur or, whatever their goal is.
Sure.
It's not so out there and in space, if that makes sense.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Ryan.
Well, that's interesting, Ryan. So would you say that overcoming those challenges that we are experiencing, all of us to different degree in different ways, would it be working on, as you said, understanding, diving in more, or just working through and just going out there, be there, just come out of it.
And yeah, could you elaborate a little more for me? That might help me.
So overcoming those challenges, would it be diving in and trying to work out internally, understand the reason, or just working through and just pushing ourselves more and just, I don't know, push ourselves to appear to the meeting or to go to the job interview or do something different?
I think it's digging into the root cause of an issue. I think a lot of people, I'll give you an example. They have something they're working on that they want to overcome. Maybe it's something about themselves. And so what I've seen happen a lot is, well, you're stressed and you want to change your behaviors. Well, I'm going to exaggerate just to make a point here, but well, I recommend some yoga and a vacation and maybe a massage, and that'll fix your problem. But when you recommend something like that, you're treating a symptom. And so for me, it's really digging in and by asking the right questions and figuring out, maybe this person, most people don't know how to articulate what they need help with because they don't know. So they're going to describe for you symptoms. They're going to describe for you, I'm feeling this way. This is a problem in my life. It's a pain point. And they're not going to know necessarily how to fix that. So the job of the coach is really to ask the right questions and get to something in a very real way that they can action that will change that root cause.
Yes, that's good advice.
It is very impressive. Thank you very much for joining us. Our dear listeners, if you want to work with Ryan, go to his website. It's rslindner.com. You can find link in the description to this episode. Ryan, before we go, do you have any exercise or something that our listeners can try this week in order to improve these issues in their lives this week, or at least start?
I would say just some tips here. Own it. I like own who you are. Often our lives are, our circumstances right now are after a series of decisions. So we all often think we're a victim of circumstance, like I don't like my job. I don't like, my situation. What brought us to the situation is usually a series of decisions that we've made. So to get out of it, there's no magic. It's going to take you a series of decisions to get you out. So oftentimes, we gravitate towards what's familiar, so it's going to take, sometimes a big scary choice, a choice that gets you out of your comfort zone. So I would say, what are you willing to do to actually create change? And it's usually, again, going to have to get you away from what's familiar to you. Sometimes a big scary choice, but trust that you will figure it out as you go.
Well, you kind of remind me of the story of a woman who she's sound asleep at night and she suddenly wakes up and sees her husband sitting up in bed and he just almost sweating profusely. He's worried about what's going to happen tomorrow. And it's in the middle of the night now. And she says, "What's wrong, Fred?" Fred turns to his wife and he says, "I don't know what I'm going to do. I owe the neighbor some money at the banker, and I don't know what to do. The mortgage payment is coming due, and we're going to lose the house and all." So she picks up the phone and she calls a neighbor who happens to be the banker. She said, "Hey, George, we don't have the money." And she hung up. And he looked over at her and he said, "What did you do?" She said, "Now you can go back to sleep."
I love it. I love that.
Okay, now you can go back to sleep. And that's an old story, but I've often think about it is that we worry about, like Dr. Phil said, they can beat you, but they can't eat you. Okay. You can move on. If the worst thing is the worst thing that could happen to you, okay, deal with it. Now you can move on and think of a solution.
If the worst thing becomes okay, then so will you.
That's exactly right. You got to be okay.
So our dear listeners, once again, it's rslindner.com. Thank you very much for joining us, Ryan. I think you help our listeners a lot to start that process of change to work and get rid of these demons that we all have here. Yeah.
That's right.
A lot of-
And for our listeners, if you saw Ryan, you're seeing me. We're almost like twins.
Yep.
Thanks for having me. It was my pleasure.
You take care, my friend. Bye-bye.
This is Motivational Monday by Jim and Lucy.
Follow our podcast.
And check out our website, jimandlucywoods.com.